morning, everyone. Welcome to the Daily Faith Builder. Do you know that you are one of the richest people to ever walk on the face of the earth? Pretty amazing thing to think about. Throughout all of history, we are a part of the richest people to ever walk on the face of the earth. Now, you might not feel very rich or prosperous, but compared to the history of the world, we today are among the richest to ever walk on the face of the earth. Let me read this for us. This is on page 12 and 13 from How to Live in Prosperity in a Suffering World. It says, living in America, we've experienced a level of affluence and prosperity that has been unmatched by any other people in history. Economic professors Stephen Colbert and Brian Fikkert observe how the standard of living essentially common among us is extremely uncommon in human history. They write, at no time in history has there ever been greater economic disparity in the world than at present. Speaking specifically about present-day Americans, they conclude, by any measure, we are the richest people ever to walk on planet Earth. Did you get that? That's amazing. The richest people to ever walk on planet Earth. What a statement about American prosperity, but there is a lingering problem here. The problem is a lot of people just do not feel prosperous. They might have all kinds of finances, but they don't feel prosperous. And that brings us to our big topic here of how to live in prosperity in a suffering world is, what does it mean to feel prosperous? And the world celebrates finances. Heaven celebrates faith. And so the question is raised is really, what are we rich in is the question we need to really grapple with. What are we rich in? We've talked about that true prosperity is this ability to live by faith in this tension between the goodness of God and suffering by God's powerful promises and his power, the gospel itself. And probably nowhere in Scripture do we see more of this radical tension between these two aspects of prosperity and suffering than as we see in Hebrews chapter 11. It's called the Hall of Faith. So again, we don't see a hall of successful financial people in the Bible. We see a hall of faith. We see faith celebrated. And that is a big clue to us to understand how we should be really pursuing prosperity. Is what are we rich in? Are we rich in faith? Are we rich in God? But I want to just take us to Hebrews 11 this morning and this verse 32 through 40. Look at this. This is the Hall of Faith. And what more shall I say? For the time would fail me to tell of Gideon, Barak, Samson, Jephthah, David, Samuel, and the prophets, who through faith conquered kingdoms, enforced justice, obtained promises, stopped the mouths of lions, quenched the power of fire, escaped the edge of the sword, were made strong out of weakness, became mighty in war, put foreign armies to flight. Women received back the dead in resurrection. That is faith at work and extreme prosperity. We would rejoice in those testimonies. But here there's a shift here in this next verse. It says, some were tortured, some refused to accept release, some might rise again to better life. Others suffered mocking and flogging, even chains and imprisonment. They were stoned, they were sawn in two, they were killed by sword, and the list goes on and on here to say that these were people of faith as well. And we look at that and we say, that's extreme suffering and persecution. But the Bible sees that as rich in faith. And how do we hold these two things together, suffering and prosperity? The only way we can is if we grow to become rich in faith. And that is trusting in the promises and the power of the gospel of Jesus Christ. So I hope that encourages you this morning as we are in these times to really wrestle with this idea of, boy, what am I rich in? And am I growing and establishing my faith more than just my finances? God bless.